Good afternoon. I'm Robbie Owens, CBS News Texas. We have breaking news for you. We have been watching the Texas Senate vote on 16 articles of impeachment against suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton after he was accused of corruption and bribery. A vote to convict on any one of those articles would have led to Paxton's removal from office. 21 senator votes was needed to convict. That was the bar, but the votes to convict were never that close. Political reporter Jack Fink has been covering the trial. He is live in the Capitol right now. Jack, I know you just stepped outside of the Senate chambers. What do you make of this vote?
Well, Robbie, really the bottom line at this point is that Attorney General Ken Paxton is suspended no more. He will be returned to his office as Texas Attorney General. He had been suspended since Memorial Day weekend when the House impeachment. He did not receive any pay. Obviously, that he will be paid right now. We are waiting for senators to come outside this chamber to see what they have to say. But what I thought was most interesting about this is that most of the votes were 16 nays, 14 yeas. Only 2 Republicans joined the 12 Democrats to vote to convict Mr. Paxton on most of these counts. They were Kelly Hancock of North Richland Hills and Robert Nichols of Jackson. And so right now, sorry, I have a little frog in my throat, but
there, Jack, just take a moment. Just take a moment. I know I have been there. You've been doing a lot of talking, bringing us a lot of information this morning. So yes, just take a moment. I noticed that you were sending messages out while you were watching that vote. The whistleblowers were there watching it as well. What kind of reaction were you seeing from them as senators essentially said by their votes that they didn't believe them?
Well, they were the 3 whistleblowers who had been here, Ryan Vassar, David Maxwell, and also Blake Brickman, were sitting far away from the media, but I could see their faces, and they were basically just watching without much reaction. Obviously, I would think that they are probably disappointed in what the verdicts are, but at this point, I'm more curious to find out what is going to happen inside that chamber. Why did the senators vote this way? What was going through their minds as they were contemplating the evidence? And the House, the burden of proof was on the House, and that had to be beyond a reasonable doubt. And obviously, the senators felt there was some doubt sowed by Paxton's legal team. So that's why we want to find out what they are thinking about all of this. One of the people I would like to interview, obviously, is Senator Hancock, because he voted with Democrats for most of these articles of impeachment. The other thing that I'm thinking about right now is just the politics of it all, because here you had the House overwhelmingly voted to impeach the Attorney General, and there were a variety of Republicans who voted against that because they were complaining about the process. They didn't like the fact that the House launched a secret investigation of the Attorney General back in March. And so I want to see if there are going to be any repercussions for House members who voted to impeach. There had been a lot of political pressure on the Republican senators to not convict and remove the Attorney General. And so it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out.
Jack, a question that I've been getting as I move about life here in North Texas. It's very important to point out that this was a trial in the Senate. It wasn't a criminal trial. And should there be a criminal trial at some point, it will operate very differently. All of this evidence is out there now. This all began because some top lieutenants in Attorney General Ken Paxton's office went to the FBI about their concerns. Have you heard anything about where that stands? Is there a federal investigation regarding these charges underway?
Well, we know that the federal investigation of the Attorney General remains ongoing. The other thing that he still has facing is the state securities fraud charge. And he's going to be returning to a Houston courtroom October 6th because there's a new judge in that case, and that case is going to be coming back up again. And so that's really his next step, is answering to that state securities fraud charges. There are 3 felony charges that he's facing, and remember, this dates back to 2015. So what happened here in the Senate chamber has nothing to do with those state charges against the Attorney General. What happened here inside the Senate chamber has nothing to do with this federal investigation that remains ongoing. This federal investigation began 3 years ago this month when 8 of the former top deputies of Ken Paxton went to the FBI. The 3 people I mentioned before, they were among those who went to the FBI. And so this came up in the closing argument the other day. Paxton's attorney said, hey, we haven't heard anything from the FBI. And so that's because they were saying, because there's nothing to the accusations that his top deputies made. We will wait to find what happens in that case.
All right, Jack, lots to watch still. I thank you so much for always staying on top of it and for bringing us the latest from Austin. I know we can look forward to more from you in our news later this evening. Thank you so much. Political reporter Jack Fink at the Capitol.